Truth or Fake means we welcome Vedika Bahal to the studio over by the big board. Vedika, great to see you. What started out as a joke on social media now has got the US president's backing. Donald Trump says he supports the idea of changing the name of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE, to a new acronym, NICE. Tell us more.
That is correct. US President Donald Trump has backed the idea of changing the name of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency to the National Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, meaning that the acronym would change from ICE to NICE. Now, this started when a conservative influencer named Alyssa Dehen posted last month about the proposed name change. She said that she wants it because she wants the media to have to say NICE agents all day, every day. And over a month later, Donald Trump picked up on this, reshared the post and said, great idea, do it. And very quickly, both the White House and the Department of Homeland Security on their official social media accounts have been seen using this proposed name change when referring to ICE. Now, in order to make this change legal, DHS would have to submit the proposed name change to Congress to be approved. Congress would then have to pass a law amending the legislation that created the agency within the Department of Homeland Security. And of course, it means everything from regulations, budgets, contracts, documents, systems. They would all require an update, which is evidently a lengthy and very expensive process. And overall, whilst it is true, Mark, that Donald Trump has backed this idea of changing the name from ICE to NICE, it is unclear at this stage whether this name change will actually follow through at this point.
Indeed, and as you say, it would cost quite a lot of money to do that, wouldn't it, Vedika? Now, President Trump and his administration have already tried to rename various other things. Tell us more about what they've tried to change.
That's right. Language is another tool that Donald Trump has used in his agenda, and certainly renaming things features very much so as part of his political logic. Last year, for example, he refers to the Department of Defense as the Department of War in a social media post online. Some months later, he then told reporters in the White House that he wants this change to be official. So he said, the Department of War has a stronger sound. I don't want it to be defense only. And of course, as we know, he then signed an executive order to officially change and rename the Department of Defense to the Department of War. However, as of this April, this has still not yet been codified. And according to and it's estimated that pursuing this down to the end will cost the agency over $50 million. So a pretty hefty price tag there, and it will include it will make over 7,600 changes to the law. Now, we can't forget also his name change of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Donald Trump even punished media outlets who didn't adopt the name change. For example, he barred an Associated Press reporter who did not use that rebrand in an article. And Google Maps and Apple Maps have both, in fact, made this change. As we can see here, we can see the Gulf of America there. However, if you're outside the US, as we are here in Paris, the Gulf of Mexico is still to be seen, although that is just outside the US. But yes, very much so, this isn't the first time that we've seen Donald Trump push to rename things to better suit his liking.
And Vedika, this ICE to NICE idea comes at an especially sensitive time for immigration agency officials.
Yes, it does indeed. Earlier this month, ICE reported its 29th death of a detainee in custody since October. That makes it the highest total of deaths in ICE custody since the agency began in 2003. Now, the Department of Homeland Security, though, denied that there's been a spike in deaths. It says that the increase in these deaths in custody is due to the increase of the number of people in detention. And it says that this loss of life only makes up 0.009% of the detained population. And it says that it believes that many migrants, and I quote, receive the best healthcare that they've received all their lives in detention. Now, ICE also remains one of the most criticised agencies in the current administration, to the point that a debate is still underway in Congress about funding it further.